My husband killed someone and can't cope. 5 months ago, a woman purposely walked in front of my husband's truck, he struck her, and was killed. Much like the people who kill their family before killing themselves, she was so selfish, basically taking him with her. He quit on the spot. His employer should have recognized that he was in distress and given him some time off instead of accepting his resignation, but they didn't. I'm 8 months pregnant, and before someone says you shouldn't have kids if you can't afford them, I know. We are in a world of hurt right now, and it's only going to get worse. The accident brought up bad juju from an accident 10 years ago where he lost his wife and son. He has anxiety that he didn't have before. He goes to therapy but hasn't driven since the accident. He would rather walk in 100-degree heat than get behind the wheel. He has driven trucks for nearly 13 years, it's all he knows. I know mental health is so important, but we are at a dead end. I won't insult him by acting like I know what he is going through or what he is feeling, but we can't afford for him to grieve any longer. I have been telling him for the last month that we are running out of money. We have less than $100 to our names and our pantry is bare. Life can't wait for him to get ready. I don't know what ultimatum I can give him that will snap him back to reality, but next week we are going to be living on the street. We are on a month-to-month lease because we don't have the best credit, so if we don't pay, we are out. I've already pushed our car payment back as much as I could. We've used our get-out-of-jail-free cards, used all generosity from our family and friends, and I've exhausted local resources. I work full-time in a salon and simply don't make enough to support us. I try finding odd side jobs, but I'm limited until after I give birth. I don't want to come off as insensitive, but he needs to go back to work. We had a small savings that we have been using, but that money is gone. My husband insisted he help out the woman's family with final expenses, which I was against, but he did it anyway. He feels guilty. And I feel like the worst bitch wife in the world saying all this, but I can't do this alone. Update 1. This happened a few days ago, and it's a cruel, twisted irony that I made this Reddit asking how hard I should push him to go back to work. My last post was about how we were going to lose our place, because my husband couldn't recover after a woman stepped in front of his semi 7-ish months ago. I said it was like she took him with her. Now he is actually gone and it's not even the same. Before I get some assholes asking why are you posting right now? I don't know what to do. I notified his family. After my last post I pushed him to try to get his job back, and they took him back with open arms, which was a huge blessing and surprise. When I called his boss yesterday to tell him my husband wouldn't be coming back, he told me that the company would pay for his funeral. He had been with them for nearly 10 years before he abruptly quit the day of the accident. He needed therapy and time off, but thought the best thing, the easiest thing would be to quit and try and handle it alone. If you have people in your corner and if you have resources available to you, please use them. Did you know if someone unalives themselves in your house, you are responsible for cleanup? If you are renting and don't have renter's insurance, it's on you. I'm 8 months pregnant and I'm being induced next week, and I can't even go inside my house. I contacted the church we had been to on and off, where we got married, and suicide is a sin, so no help there. I think I was too hard on him in the last few weeks. I had let the stress build up and didn't tell him how bad things were until it was too late. He thought, oh, she can handle it like she always does. We have to stop thinking like that. And I mean anyone who is reading this, because I'm sure you do it too. I brought up adoption because who would choose to bring a child into this world being poor? That is what a lot of comments told me, and they were right. I'm being induced next week, and I don't even have a clean environment to bring a baby back to. It's the last piece of my husband, and I don't know if I deserve to raise him. I know I might have seemed like an asshole about my husband. I was just stressed. But he was a good man who deserved to be a father, and he deserved to be here. He just didn't see that, and I think I'll have a broken heart for the rest of my life. If anyone is in my area who wants to sit on the curb and drink lukewarm bottled water with a stranger, my DMs are open. If you are struggling, please get help. You are not weak or less than. Mental health is so important and serious. Please. Update. Wow. I can't keep up with the comments. For privacy's sake, I'll just say Illinois. I have a lot of places to call, so thank you to every single kind comment and message. I won't say I'm okay or that I will be anytime soon, but I'm safe. Update 2. This is an update to those of you who asked on my last post got removed NSFW, so I hope it's okay that I do so. I had my baby boy this past weekend. 8 pounds 5 oz. And 19.5 inches. I wanted to share the news because when I texted his family the day he arrived, I was told they wanted to know nothing about him and didn't want to see any pictures. Heart-crushing is an understatement. Trying to sign up for survivor benefits in WIC, while also filling out life insurance paperwork, is surreal. I just hope it's approved ASAP. I'm keeping my baby, no matter how hard it'll be. I never thought I'd be sending my husband to heaven and welcoming his boy within a week of each other. I want to believe they somehow crossed paths up there, because the thought of him not meeting or never knowing his precious son is unfathomable. Second story. I think my husband's mistress thinks he is richer than he actually is. My best friend thinks I am a douche because I am keeping silent. He 39, me 39. Mistress 29. Best friend 39. We have been together for 14 years. Living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of fucks I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional, and its survival depends on it being reciprocated, because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship or let his feelings for her subside. I said it was over. It was like I never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought the audacity. Did he want me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Last Friday I got home and my mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because seriously? I told them that this wasn't civil at all, and to never be in my home again, or I would call the cops. I went to my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious: "Why haven't you kicked her out yet?" He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering later. "We can discuss this later." She left and he came to me apologizing. He said, "We didn't have sex here if this is what you are scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today." I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning I changed all the locks. From now on he isn't allowed in my place during my working hours, so if he starts later or finishes earlier, he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But his mistress's words stuck with me, so during the weekend I have been stalking her on social media. I think she thinks that he is rich. Or at least that he owns my apartment. I think she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth because her hashtags were all about the good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was a scum not telling the mistress the truth. I agreed. But then she said I was no better not explaining to her his situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring the mistress back to earth. My best friend got very angry and demanded that I give her mistress's username so that she could warn her. "No," I said. She called me a bigger douche than he is then. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad, or have I? When did our moral compass go askew like this? Can someone tell me that I am not insane? Update. I had a showdown with my former best friend. I did it. I had a showdown with my former best friend via text, and I confronted her about her non-existent support when I went to her with my woes. I told her that she concentrated on the wrong issue. She should have been my shoulder to cry in. She should have shown up with wine, ice cream, and a shovel, but instead, she called me a bigger douche than my husband. She tried to gaslight me, and I realized that she's always been a good gaslighter, so I interrupted her before she made me out to be the villain. I asked her bluntly, "Was her husband's name married when you started sleeping together? You told us that he was married before. We all knew that, but we all were under the impression that he was married and divorced before you two met, but was he still married? Is that why you related to the mistress and felt sympathy for her? Because you were her?" She didn't answer me until the next day to call me a bitter and jealous bitch. Wow. This was the last one-on-one interaction with her, I have decided. She's been my friend since preschool, but now we need to go our separate ways, not only to save us from future hurt but also to save our memories together from hurt. I talked to my husband too, and asked him not to make the separation difficult and bitter, that it ruins all the happiness we felt being together, because we cannot think back on 1/3 of our lives with resentment. I asked him to take my dad's offer he offered to help him find a lease in an apartment, and pay a half year's rent if he moved out without giving me problems. When I got home, he and his clothes were gone. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. So I have finally been able to cry my eyes out, and it felt so good. I have been crying since I got home. I lost 2 of my closest people, but this is what happens when we hit hardships. We see people's true faces. This is my update. I don't know if anything major will happen to make more updates. It is time for me to move on.